Cruella de Vil, Cruella de Vil. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. To see her is to take a sudden chill. Cruella, Cruella de Vil. The glare in her look, the ice in her stare. Innocent children, you better beware. The world was such a wholesome place until Cruella, Cruella de Vil. First you think she's a devil, and after time is worn away the shock, you come to realize, I seen it in their eyes, she's watching you from underneath the rock. That vampire bat, the inhuman beast, she ought to be locked up and never released. Like a spider full of kill, that's old Cruella, Cruella de Vil. Yeah! First you think she's a devil, she's a devil, and after time is thrown away the shock. Come to realize, you've seen it in their eyes. The vampire bat, that inhuman beast, she ought to be locked up and tossed away to keep. The world was such a wholesome place until Cruella, Cruella de Vil. Oh, Cruella, Cruella.
Hey everybody, welcome to Disney Movie Stack. I'm your host, Ray Gootz. I'm here with Mike Guild. What's up, Mike?
What's up, everyone?
How's it going? And I can't believe it, but we finally have made it to the 60s. And I'm here with Mike talking about 101 Dalmatians. But before we talk about that, let's talk about Mike Guild, the world famous Mr. Industry. Mike, when did you start doing stand-up?
I started doing stand-up when I was 14.
14?
Yeah.
I did not know that. But wait a minute. So how did this all begin? You're from Florida, correct?
The lawless state, as they say.
Okay. How did this happen?
I just, growing up, always wanted to be a comedian. So I kept seeing in interviews and stuff over and over again, you know, Chappelle and Richard Pryor and all these people I looked up to. Like, they would always be like, yeah, I started when I was 14 and just started going into clubs and everything. So I was like, all right, that's what I want to do. If that's what you got to do to become a famous comedian. So I stole my older brother's ID and started going to open mics and stuff.
Oh, cool. And how'd that go?
Oh, awful.
Oh, really?
Oh, how many 14-year-olds, are funny?
Me, when I was 14, I was very funny.
Exactly. We're very, very, I don't know. My jokes were not good. I think I was biting off of, like, Dane Cook was really popular at the time. So I think I was just trying to mimic him. And
oh, wait. How old are you?
I'm 31.
You're 31? Oh, okay. So wait, Dane Cook was popular when you were 14?
Oh yeah.
I think
that's when his like big album came out that everybody had.
What year were you 14? I'm sorry.
What year was I 14? Now I got to do math. That would have been like 2003, 4 maybe.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was already at Caroline's. Answering phones back then. That's wild.
I just I really, that was my dream, and I figured that was the best route. And no, I was awful for a long time.
Now, did you go straight through? Like, did you start at 14, never quit, or did you give up for a little bit?
I don't think I've ever given up. I've definitely taken. I feel like you got to take a step back every once in a while from comedy. Mm-hmm. When you dive headfirst into it, you can kind of lose yourself, and you kind of stop maintaining like a normal person life, like cleaning your clothes and buying groceries and the things you need to do to survive.
As you can see, when you asked me for water, I was like, huh?
Ray did not have water in his whole house. Right. He's got every movie ever made, but no water.
Every season of Alf.
Yeah. Every video game, but nothing that'll keep you alive.
Why would you need water? And when did you move to New York City?
I got here like 10 years ago.
Okay.
When I first got here, I started, since there was now more opportunity out there with like trying out sketch, and I did a lot of sketch in high school, did a lot of sketch writing, and we had our own little sketch show that we put on for our drama club. So I did that every year, and then when I got up here, I got into UCB and was doing that for a while. I did improv at a couple different places. I went to a lot of jams and just kind of like learned by doing it, kind of thing. And I'd say in the last like 7 years or so, got back into stand-up more full-time, and I will be moving over to England to be doing it over there pretty soon.
Yes, and when are you moving to England? That's one of the reasons why I picked you for this movie. When are you moving to England?
I don't have a set date yet. I got to find a job out there, and they don't want people to just move out there and try to be comedians. It's not like New York.
It's not like the United States, where just like, why are you against immigrants? Everyone should be welcome, right?
Oh, they hate immigrants.
Okay,
they definitely hate immigrants.
Every country hates immigrants, but apparently us. We're just supposed to be like super cool with it.
Yes, we're supposed to set the bar. That's exactly right. We're supposed to show the rest of the world, like, look, this is the great things that can happen.
When I went into Mexico, they were so fucking like aggressively. If you if you lose this, you're screwed. If you're that, you're you know what I mean, like aggressive.
Like your passport?
No, they give you you get a piece of paper you have to carry around in addition to your passport. So like if let's say like I got in trouble with the cops, it doesn't matter if I have my passport. I had to have that piece of paper, or I'm just like fucked. I don't have any rights or anything.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I would, and I'm assuming you're not allowed to label that piece of paper.
No, and it's like the flimsiest piece of paper. Yeah. It's like a drink ticket is more, shut up, dog. A drink ticket is more like durable than this piece of paper that could effectively end your life overseas. Not overseas, south of the border.
Yeah, I don't have a set date yet, but 2020, I'll be moving over there. I'm going to be out of New York in a couple weeks. And then I'm just going to be going back and forth between England and Florida, trying to find a place. I don't know. What do you think I should do? You think I should be an EMT? Apparently they need EMTs.
In England?
Yeah.
Probably
there's
deal
a
with
shortage.
A lot of gang violence and shit.
A lot of gang violence.
Yeah. I would be a detective, a gentleman detective.
I think it takes a while to become a detective.
I always wondered why they never did a show where a guy from New York moves to England and basically is like a gruff New Yorker, but he's a detective.
Okay. Gruff New York detective.
But in England.
I bet I could lie on my resume and just say I was a detective over here, right? Yeah,
because they've had English people come to America to be detectives, like Sherlock, but they've never had an American guy go, hey, what's going on? We've got some teas and crumpets. Like, you thought that'd be a natural thing they would have done, like one of those procedural cop shows.
Yeah, why can't I go over there and solve some of their crimes?
Yeah, well, you should.
I think I'm gonna try. I'm gonna Florida man in
yeah,
London.
like they had a Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not, Magnum in England?
There you go. Yeah. I'll grow a mustache.
There you go.
I look good in a Hawaiian t-shirt.
My other idea, if you ever team my other idea for a TV show, a vampire who's a stand-up comic, because if you think about it, that's the perfect job for a fucking vampire. You have to kind of remain young looking because everybody's like so obsessed with their looks in showbiz. So it's just like, oh, he just takes care of his skin. Your only time you have to go out is at night.
Yeah.
You can pick up girls at shows and drink their blood. Like, that's the perfect gig for a vampire. And then like you can just, I got picked up. I'm gonna go to LA and pursue there. When you want to vanish, and then you just show up again 20 years later with a different name and start doing stand up again.
Who wants to start over doing stand up though?
Well, because that way you can, you keep your vampire lifestyle going. I don't know.
Also, a great job for a serial killer. It sounds like.
What, a comedian?
Yeah.
Basically, if you want to murder women, comedy is.
I'm
surprised no one's used that.
I think that's a real story. I'm
what,
pretty sure
a vampire.
I think there was a comedian. I don't know if he was a murderer as much as he was a rapist, but he would like go to colleges and stuff.
Oh well, yeah, I was a rapist. That UCB did an investigation. I don't know. Remember that?
I'm not that. I mean, like it was an actual news story, not just in the comedy news. It was like not that the UCB thing wasn't actual news, but it was like it might have even been in Florida. It was some guy who like would go do colleges and go do shows, and then like afterwards like go out and assault women.
Oh, as somebody would do. Yeah. Okay. I hope that's nice.
Were you Googling that as I was telling you?
No, I was looking up something about the 101 Dalmatians, which is supposed to be what this podcast is about, so sexual assault. But you know what? That's the magic of Disney. It can be whatever
Disney
you want.
Disney does remind you of awful things It leads your brain down a dark path for some reason.
So let's get off of comedy for a second. Let's talk about your childhood. How was your childhood? You grew up in Florida, correct?
I did. I survived.
So before your parents turned you into a child slave as a comic at 14, how was your childhood?
It was good.
Yeah.
Pretty normal. I grew up next to a graveyard.
Oh, really?
And yeah, like my neighbors were dead people. And people would hold their breath as they drove by my house, which was always weird.
Oh, because they could smell the dead people?
No, you can't smell dead people at a graveyard.
I don't
No,
know.
you never heard that, like, that stupid superstition? People, like, if you drive by a graveyard, you hold your breath.
I mean, I
so that you
think
don't,
they do
I'm
that
guessing,
in other states.
inhale a spirit. I don't know what it would do.
In New York, me and my friends used to do the Nelson laugh when we drove by the graveyard. Ha ha.
Yeah, you've bested them. You've won up those
I've
people.
won up these dead motherfuckers. So it was like a normal, happy-go-lucky childhood.
Yeah, I running around causing mischief. You know,
Okay.
we used to we had a like you know how every kids show back in the day had like people are always trying to scheme. Like South Park in the first couple seasons, they're always trying to make money. Yeah, Zach Morris, he's always trying to make money in
I
some
could see
way.
being like
Or
Zach Morris when you were young.
T.J. Detweiler, like from Recess, like Bart Simpson, like those kind of. That I had a lot of influence from those people because that was one thing me and my friends used to do is we used to like let people hit us with their car, and then we would like basically be like, give us money and we won't call the cops.
Wait, you allowed yourself to get hit by a car?
Well, there was one. Okay, it's there would always be these corners that people would like. They would pull up to, and they would only look in one direction before they would turn out of it.
Okay.
Like it was just a known thing that people just didn't look. And after you almost got hit on accident a couple times, you realize this happens a lot. So then you wait around a bush. And then someone pulls up to this corner, and then you walk out slowly in front, and then they come out. They barely tap you. You make it sound like you're dead, like you're dying. Your friends come out and go, "We saw the whole thing," and then you get that guy to buy you, buy you beer and cigarettes and stuff. Sell it to high school kids.
That's hilarious. I could always see you as a schemer, kind of like Zach
We
Morris.
did a lot of scheming.
I could see that. And did you were cartoons, Disney? Was that part of your childhood?
Yeah, I think I walked the line between like Disney and Nickelodeon. There was always a very fierce competition between Disney kids, Nickelodeon kids, and then
Fox
sometime
kids.
in the 90s. Well, Cartoon Network came out with a big bang.
with Ed and Eddie.
So then it quickly I think Disney Channel for a long time when I was a kid wasn't like the Disney Channel had just come out, but it hadn't yet started.
Disney
doing,
Afternoon was the big thing when I was
yeah.
yeah.
And then Disney Channel original movies became really big.
Mhm.
I remember watching a bunch of those, but for the most part, I think I was into Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, that kind of stuff. But sitting down with Grandma and Grandpa, you'd always end up watching some Disney movie.
And what Disney movies did you like as a kid?
I mean, 101 Dalmatians always good. I'm a big dog lover,
Okay. So that was a big one.
that was when I was.
So
a
you
kid.
watched 101 Dalmatians as a kid.
Oh yeah, definitely seen this movie a bunch of times.
All right. And what'd you think of it as a kid?
I think I liked the dogs. I think that was just like the biggest thing. Lady and the Tramp and stuff. I loved just that was, I think just watching dog and the animation's so good. Like you can tell that they would watch actual dogs to get down the animation and just like what they did with Alice in Wonderland and they would basically take a video of someone acting and then draw over it.
Yes, that's what they did a lot of live action references in the early days. I don't know if they did that as they got to like shit like Tarzan and stuff. I think by then they had computer stuff, but yeah, in the old days they would have actors acting.
Yeah, I would always want a dog as a kid, and it wasn't until I was much older before we got a family dog.
Oh,
And
how old were you when you got the dog?
I was probably like 10 years old when we got our first
okay,
dog.
You're not that much.
But that dog was an asshole.
You acted like you were 42.
Yeah, that dog bit everybody. It bit my sister. It bit me a bunch of times.
What type of dog was it?
It was a German Shepherd mixed with a Chow. It was a mean fucking dog. And then that dog got put down. And then we got another dog. And that dog's still alive. He's a good.
Wow.
He's a good boy. I got that dog when I was actually like maybe 6 months before I moved to New York. We got that dog as a puppy, and I just because my brother and sister had moved out of the house, I was about to move across the country, and I figured my parents might kill each other if they didn't have some sort of a live animal to take care of, something to kind of go in between them.
Yeah. So now that you saw the movie as an adult, what did you think of it? We just watched it.
It's got more undertones than I remember.
Yeah.
Watching as an adult, I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but there's a lot of weird stuff in this movie that I didn't really notice the first time. I think Cruella de Vil is a severely underutilized villain in this movie. Like we were talking about before, they're supposed to be coming out with a live action like origin story movie.
Yeah, with Emma Stone.
With Emma Stone. So like I'm looking forward to that. I think it's a great character. I think there's something to do. Glenn Close was amazing in the live action version.
Yeah, I heard good. I owned it, but my mom loved that version. I never watched it. But.
I want to say that's what maybe got me into the movie came out in like 95, 96. So I think watching that as a little kid also like got me back into loving the animated version.
Yeah.
This movie, first of all, the husband, what's his, do we even know the husband's name?
Yeah,
Roger.
Anita and Roger are the humans.
They seem like they have a weirdly toxic relationship.
Yes.
In my opinion. Like, when the movie starts out, Roger is a hoarder, basically. There's shit all over his apartment.
It is true, yeah.
He doesn't look like he's ever had another human being inside his apartment. He just looks like a wreck of a human being.
Yeah.
He's like a jingle writer or something. He sells songs.
That's
there. It's never really like said what exactly.
But they also
does.
have stated that he has no money.
Yeah, so he's not very good.
No, he's not very good at his job. Yeah.
So then, his dog makes him meet this woman in the park, and because the dog is trying to get laid, and he's looking at all these, but he knows his human needs to get laid too. So he's looking at all these people walk their dogs by, and he's like, no, not that one. She's too old. Not this one, too young. Just going over and over, and then he finds the perfect woman and dog ratio for him and his human. And it's a weird. You can tell that like since Roger's got no friends. What's the woman's name? Anita. Like she seems like a perfectly normal person with a big family and lots of friends. Like she's friendly to everybody kind of person. She's even friends with Cruella de Vil. Who's a piece of shit.
Yes, she's still friends with her, which is weird. And like, so it's apparent that they talk on the phone.
Yeah,
because she knew about the puppies. She's been to the house before because she kind of just walks in. So she's clearly friends with this Cruella de Vil.
And they don't get along. Roger and her don't get along.
The thing you notice that I didn't notice was that when Cruella comes in the first scene, he doesn't say hi. And I've seen people do this. Like I've seen couples do this, and Roger just goes down to the basement and waits till
he goes in the attic.
Goes to the attic. Do they even talk, Roger and her?
No, they don't talk until Cruella tries to come in and buy the puppies after they're born.
And then he says something.
And he's just like, fuck you. Get the fuck out of my house. You're not buying these puppies.
Yeah, but like at first he's like tolerant of her, but like not.
Well, because they need money.
Yeah.
I bet you Cruella, like, she's given them money over the years, probably, when they needed it. Because Roger's not providing for anybody.
No.
And I don't think Anita
he really
has
only
a job.
wrote once. Wasn't he writing Cruella de Vil when the movie started, and like he's still writing it at the end?
Yeah, it's the same song.
He's just writing one song.
It took 4 years. He's still writing one song.
One fucking song. You know what he reminds me of? There's like, I'll never forget. There's this comedian who's never changed his act. So one of my friends was banging him, and she goes over his house and he shows her like kind of like Orny Adams. He says, "I have CNN on. I have MSNBC on." And, I watched all day and I put the work in, and there's all these folders of jokes, and yet the guy's been doing the same 20 minutes for like 30 years. And I'm like, where's all that work going then? Like, what are you writing? Like a book that nobody knows about yet?
It's all for show.
Yeah.
It's that is one of the most infuriating things when you like meet another comic and you like their act and then they never change it for years.
No, they never like even try to.
They never
like,
try
I'm
new
always
things.
Like rearranging the order. I'm always like, unless like it's something that like I really have to like hit a home run on, I'm like experimenting all the time.
Yeah, as you should be.
Oh, who the fuck is this? All right, we'll be right back.
The police are everywhere. I want the job done tonight. Do you understand?
The underworld, and you're behind the scenes with Cruella, the queen who runs the racket. Nobody gets in Cruella's way. Her crime? Dog napping. The dog nappers strike again, and the most baffling mystery of the century becomes the funniest motion picture of the year. Walt Disney's 101 Dalmatians. Witness the biggest dog napping in history. See the queen of the mob and her hilarious henchmen match wits with the best brains in dogdom. Share 101 new thrills, chills, and laughs in the most fantastic chase ever filmed. See Walt Disney's new full-length, all-cartoon Technicolor motion picture, 101 Dalmatians. It's hilarious.
All right, and we're back to the podcast. Sorry about that. Amazon delivered something for the Gootz. Yeah, so comedians, fuck them. All right, so yeah, I agree. There's a weird. I feel like he's the type of guy that convinced her to get rid of all her friends.
Yeah, or he was just like it's that kind of toxic relationship where it's like I don't know if he convinced her necessarily as like all her friends and family just don't like him.
Yeah,
and like he's just kind of a scumbag. And now they live together. She probably thinks she can fix him, kind of thing.
Yes,
and
all women think they can fix assholes.
Or you know, maybe she just truly loves him, and maybe she's got her own issues. I don't know, but
I mean, it's Disney.
She seems like a nice enough person where it's like if you're gonna keep Cruella de Vil in your house or like in your life, and be friends with her from childhood all the way to adulthood when she's this awful of a person, like. There's got to be a reason, you know, and it's she's probably just that good of a person. She's that nice of a human being.
That's true. She could be that nice, and it could be true love. I mean, obviously it's a Disney film, so obviously the answer is this.
It could be love. It could be codependency. It could be a lot of things.
But there are like weird. There's a lot of weird things. You know, you always forget these are made by adults, and they're putting stuff in that kids aren't going to pick up. Which I never. If you told me, hey, can you draw the apartment? First of all, I can't draw, so I would have been like, I understand it. But if, as like I was 10, you said, draw the apartment of the dude in 101 Dalmatians, I'm not drawing a bunch of clutter. That stuff just went over my head. But now as an adult, I'm like, this fucking guy doesn't clean this house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that reads into what, and then the same thing with his body language and stuff. Okay, so like,
well, it shows their. Here's how you know that their relationship is bad. It shows their wedding. No one is there.
There's no one there. That's the thing. There's no one at the wedding. Just the dogs.
It's just, and they're not even allowed in the church. They have to sit outside in the cold.
Yeah.
While they get married, it's like, I wonder if these are just those weird people where like they're obsessed with their pet. You know, like they just become upset. Like their dog runs their entire life.
That might be, yeah.
So they met one other person where their dog does that, and they're like, "Well, this is fine.
This is how we do it."
On.
Yeah. The other weird thing is though they could afford a maid, which they never explained how they could afford a maid.
I'm gonna assume it's her trust fund. She seems like she comes from money.
Yeah.
I've been to London. I've seen the people who come from money. They act like that.
The thing that stands out about this movie when you watch them all in a row, when you go from Snow White to this, is how modern it is compared to everything before it. Like, every other movie is kind of a period piece or a fantasy piece or something. And this movie is like people are watching TV, they're on the phone, they're smoking, they're they're trying to pay bills. Like, it's like the real world. It's very 1960, what year was this? 1960? 61. It's very like 1960, 61.
Yeah, so it's made in 60 probably, or a couple of years before that. But it is definitely...
before, all the other movies were just kind of like, it's a timeless, like, magical whenever, you know?
It does seem really realistic with, like, London is still kind of war-torn, and, like, parts of England that they show, like, there's still people rebuilding from the wars.
Yeah.
So it's like, it
was
definitely
only 20
has
years
realism.
after the war at that point.
Well.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, that's still, like, the war fucked up a lot of shit, so... And the book was written in 1956, so,
I would actually like to read the book.
The sequel is completely insane. Like, aliens show up. They fight aliens in the sequel. The sequel is called the, what do they call the bark thing? The Twilight Bark. That's the name of the sequel. The sequel, they fight aliens. I'm not even making it up.
So the Twilight Bark
The
is
Starlight
basically...
Barking. No, it's called the Starlight Barking.
Okay.
And
in the movie, they use that as a way to communicate from London all the way to the countryside.
Yeah.
That 15 puppies were stolen from this family, and that they got to find them. And it gets all the way to who's it? The colonel.
Yeah.
The colonel, the captain, the sergeant, which is a bunch of barnyard animals. They never explain. I mean, I thought the horse was going to be like the captain,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's weird how the movie then.
or the horse is the captain. I thought he was going to be the colonel.
The movie becomes like an episode of CSI with like 3 other animals investigating the thing, and like it's like they're all sudden, but then they kind of vanish. Like the movie does have like a kind of weird like twists and turns. Wait, can I tell you the plot of Starlight Barking?
Okay.
Okay, a day of enchantments for the Dalmatians of the first book begins when the Dalmatians wake up and find all the humans and other animals in unnaturally deep sleep. Cat Pig from London is now with the Prime Minister. She informed them, like all over the country, everyone's asleep, and they summon everyone to London. All right,
All the animals.
all the dogs, everything's asleep. They investigate Cruella de Vil. They think she's behind it, but she's asleep as well. They go to Trafalgar Square, where they addressed from the top of Nelson's column by Sirius, Lord of the Dog Star, who invites them all to his alien home to evade nuclear war on Earth.
Wow.
After some debate, all the dogs agree that Pongo should make the decision. Persuaded by 3 strays, Pongo tells Sirius XM radio, the dogs cannot abandon their humans, and Sirius departs, but grants every dog the power to reach his home before the humans wake. All the stray dogs take the opportunity to go there. So the stray dogs go to outer space, and Pongo decides to stay and die in nuclear war.
Die in nuclear holocaust.
So he could be with Roger.
I would love the like.
How Disney would make that. I think I heard a story where she called up the Disney company and they were like, "What are you talking about?" Because she wrote this after the movie came out. Like, why would you write this? Like, they're basically like, "We can't make this into a movie. Are you out of your fucking mind? Nuclear war."
This is great. I want to do this as a stage production now.
Like, it was just about Cruella de Vil kidnapping puppies. Now you want like the outer space, and I do love when the sequel goes completely insane.
Yeah, that seems to happen a lot with these Disney movies. Is like the whoever wrote the book got a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And now they're like, well, I'm gonna make more money.
I'm gonna do whatever the fuck. Yeah, I'm gonna do the story I wanted to tell, not this Cruella de Vil bullshit. You know what I mean?
Dogs fighting aliens, and the aliens, I'm assuming, are dogs as well.
Yes, okay. And the dog. Well, no, they're not fighting the aliens because the aliens want to bring them back to their planet.
And the aliens is what made everybody fall asleep.
Yeah, so him and the dogs could go to the dog planet.
Well, now I kind of want to tell that story of like everybody wakes up and everybody's dogs are missing.
Yeah.
And what happens?
Well, I guess we just blow each other up with nuclear weapons.
Yeah, exactly. That's the twist is that that would
why
have
he got rid of
caused
dogs.
nuclear holocaust.
Because we're just all so upset we don't have any dogs. We just start blowing each other up. Fuck this. I really liked the art direction's very different from the other Disney movies. Here's the deal with this movie. Sleeping Beauty lost a ton of money. It was actually the first year Disney did not make a profit, like in an untold amount of years, which is, as we know from Disney, unacceptable.
Is that just because it costs a lot of money?
Sleeping Beauty costs a ton of money. So Walt was like, I don't even know if I want to keep making animated films, and then they were like, let's try to make it cheaper. So I told them, do whatever you want, and they got this book, and they decided they're going to do this book, and then they did the Xerox method. Now, the way they were able to get 101 Dalmatians on screen, where you see that many dogs, is they Xeroxed all the models. So, and
you can tell watching it.
Yeah,
it's
once
got
I didn't know that when I saw it in the summer, and then I watched special features, and once you know they Xerox all the dogs, it's very apparent.
Yeah.
But Walt Disney didn't like it. He kind of thought they were losing the magic, and like this is becoming too realistic. There's not a fantasy element to it anymore, because it is very like they're watching TV, they're making fun of TV, you know?
Yeah, it is weird how often the TV shows up. At one point, there is a commercial that is only for dogs. There's a jingle where it's just like, "Hey, you dog, you got to eat this food. Go buy it." And they're like, I don't know what kind of universe they live in where the dogs kind of rule everything. And then there's another TV show that is apparently for criminals. It's like a game show. Yeah, Guess My Crime, where they bring someone in and then they have a panel of expert judges try to guess they have 10 questions to ask to try to figure out what crime this person committed. And it sounds awful. You never learn what crime the guy committed, but the two criminals watching them are like, "Oh, this is gonna be good."
Yeah,
like they're very entertained by this.
They love it. They can't get enough. But yeah, it's weird how like so many times the movie pauses just to like make fun of TV shows.
Yeah, there must have been, that rivalry between TV and movies starting up.
But you can tell Walt Disney himself has very little to do with this movie because it's almost like kind of very sarcastic. And like Cruella de Vil, I think, up until this point, is the most realistic Disney villain they've had. Because we all know women that are kind of like that.
Kind of like Cruella de Vil?
Yeah.
In what way?
Like fucking bitchy and judgy, and you can tell she drinks.
Sure.
She can tell she smokes. She's like just a fucking lunatic.
I don't know. I don't think her gender necessarily has anything to do with it, but
we
like
all know people like
she
her.
is an archetype of like a rich, spoiled
person.
Yeah, she seems to me like she maybe is from a rich family that maybe she went to boarding school. She got sent to boarding school for being such a piece of shit when she was a kid, and that's where she met Anita, and Anita was the only other girl nice to her because she was such an asshole to all the other kids.
But like I've never met anyone that was like, oh, you remind me of Captain Hook. But I've met plenty, like when they used to have like these events for like rich people like Caroline's. I met plenty of Cruella de Vils at those events.
Yeah,
like I've never met like, oh, this guy reminds me of Captain Hook, or this guy reminds me of the Queen of Hearts. I don't know, like there weren't that many good villains up until.
What of all the Disney villains, who do I remind you of the most?
Jesus, this is a rough one. You remind me of the one from I don't know, I gotta finish them. I guess the guy from Frozen.
Who's the bad guy in Frozen?
He's the guy that like Anna loves, but I don't know, I can't remember. He comes across as a nice guy, but he's not.
Okay. That's the thing. I don't come across as a nice guy at all.
So there you go. Yeah, so I overall I really liked the movie. I think it was good that they changed things around. I think there's only so many times you can go to fairy tales, and I think they did need to take a break. I don't know if you know this, but after Sleeping Beauty, they took a 30-year break from fairy tales.
Okay. This doesn't count as a fairy tale, right?
No, it doesn't because it's a contemporary
But
book.
Cinderella, Snow White,
I mean,
all that
if
stuff.
they adopted Harry Potter, would you have considered that a fairy tale? It's a modern book. It takes place there.
Okay.
That would have been weird, Disney. But like, I don't count this or Tarzan as fairy tales. I count like Tangled as a fairy tale.
Okay.
Beauty and the Beast. Princess and the Frog is a fairy tale.
Some sort of magic.
Yeah, like a story from the old.
Magic and love.
Yeah, magic love, princesses and stuff. But they don't do a movie. They don't really do a movie. I guess you could kind of say Robin Hood, but Robin Hood is. Yeah, I guess you could say Robin Hood is a fairy tale.
Yeah. There's not real magic, but they Disneyfied it by making it all animals. Making them talk. Which, by the way, I'm not going to lie, I for some reason don't remember the animals talking in this movie.
Really?
In my mind, like, they had the voiceovers and stuff, like, where you could hear Pongo's thoughts, like in the opening, but that they didn't actually talk to one another, and they totally do throughout the whole movie, which is fine. It's not as overbearing as it is in some of these movies, but they don't sing. I'm not a big fan of the musical portion of some of these Disney movies, but they only really have one song.
Yeah, they don't really get like 9 songs a movie until like the 80s. That's when they're like, hey, Cinderella had a lot of songs. We should have a lot of songs again because like. We're going to get to, Jungle Book had a lot of songs. But like, once you get past Jungle Book, there's not a lot of songs in these movies,
Jungle Book, though, those songs are those are probably the best songs.
Those are the best songs. I like the songs of Little Mermaid, though.
Yeah, that's true. They brought them back.
But
Aladdin's
then, like,
got some good ones.
once you get past Aladdin, you can see, like, Hercules and Mulan and Hunchback. They're literally stopping to be like, here's another song. Please play it on the radio. Play it on, because they got Beauty and the Beast on the radio, which you can still hear. You can still hear A Whole New World on the radio.
Yep.
Even Colors of the Wind, I still hear on the radio.
It's a little Pocahontas is probably the last one that because
Hunchback. Have you seen Hunchback lately?
No, but I feel like it was kind of ham-fisted in there. Like the songs are.
Oh, the song. No, Hunchback is pretty good. Hunchback is very.
The
dark.
songs flow with the plot and everything.
It's like a really dark musical. Like I was surprised how mature Hunchback was.
I really thought people would stop treating ugly people bad after that movie came out, but turns out.
I think the movie would have been better. I mean, I don't want to jump ahead too far, but I think the movie would have been better if Hunchback got Esmeralda. Like, I think instead he's like, I hate it when like the main character likes a girl. And it's like, I just want you to be happy. It just allows the girl to go with the other guy. I hate that shit. No, I want to be happy. You can be happy with me.
You want? Do you consider yourself a Quasimodo?
No,
type
but I'm just
character?
saying that, like, you can be happy with me. Why can't? I don't give a fuck about this guy's happiness. This guy gonna pay my bills? What do I give a fuck? I don't care. Go be unhappy. Maybe you need a little unhappiness. We can be happy. What the fuck? Get out of here. I just wanted to be. I hate that shit. I don't want anyone to be happy. I want to be happy. You know why? Because when you're in a nursing home, hey, no, go off with those guys. I should make this a bit. Go off with those guys. I want to be happy. Now when you're in a fucking nursing home, you have no kids, no grandkids, and the government's taking all your money. Like, hey, remember when I gave up that girl for you because I wanted to be happy? Can you, like, come sign these papers for me? No. You get my point?
Yeah. I can't understand your point, but I see it.
Like, no, you're gonna be happy with me. You'll figure it out.
Oh God.
You'll get used to it.
Gootz.
Hey, come on, cheer up.
Gootsimoto.
Hey, I lost 45 pounds. Fucking Quasimodo never did that shit. I think he just got fatter. No, but I think they should have got him with Esmeralda. I mean, Beast. A couple years earlier, Beast got with Belle, and she could see through him.
He's tall and strong.
See, because that just says to me that if Belle kissed Beast and Beast doesn't transform, he just remains a Beast, she would have left him. That's what Disney's saying. She'd be like, well, I thought you were going to transform after I kissed you, but...
Yeah, I don't want to stick around for this.
I gotta go. This is fucking weird at this point. I have to say, though, getting back to the movie at hand, I really like it. I think it holds up. I think it does feel kind of dated because it's very 60s, but I think it adds to the charm.
Yeah, no, it definitely holds up, and it's very realistic. Like you said before, it's one of the more realistic. The settings and the animation style, everything feels more subtle. It doesn't like. There's obviously big cartoon, especially when the bad guys, like, when all the puppies are escaping from the bad guys.
It seems smarter than other movies. It's not like, this is a kid's film.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just a film.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not trying to cue it up for the kids.
Was this nominated for a bunch of stuff?
It was nominated for Rape of the Year.
Oh, God.
No, it wasn't nominated for anything, I don't think. But it got critical acclaim. And it did gross $14 million and only made $3 million to make.
Yeah, I looked it up. It was something like it grossed like 300 something million.
All the re-releases are into $3 million.
And then, but like put to today's money, it's like 900 million.
Yeah,
something like
so they
that.
did pretty good with this, considering that Sleeping Beauty was a big bomb and everybody hates it. Although a lot of people swear that's like their favorite.
Have you noticed watching all this? Like, because we noticed a couple connections to other Disney movies.
So there's.
Have you noticed that though? Like in a bunch of other these Disney movies, is connections.
Belle's in Hunchback.
Belle is in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, during one scene where he's like singing the Hunchback, if you look all the way in the corner, she's walking with her book reading.
Oh well, they're both in France,
yes,
right?
but she's like walking, and when you start off Beauty and the Beast, she's walking and reading.
Yeah,
yeah. So Belle's in that, and in this movie, one of the dogs from Lady and the Tramp is in the Twilight Midnight.
Little Scotty.
Little Scotty. Scotty's in it, and then here's the other crazy thing. So Bolt is a TV show.
It's the puppy's favorite show.
Yeah, Thunderbolt, and then there's the movie Bolt, and the fan theory going around. I went to a fan theory Reddit. Is that Bolt is a reboot of the show they're watching.
Yeah, they're both German Shepherds, you said, right? And they're both... for some reason, I remember Bolt being like a tiny white dog. Am I thinking of a different
No, yeah, he's tiny,
animated
but
dog?
I don't think German Shepherds always have to be big. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like that movie is about a TV show about a dog called Bolt and everything.
And this is Thunderbolt.
So that's good. They went back in time and they watched the old Disney movies looking for, some inspiration and... stumbled across that.
I haven't seen Bolt yet. Actually, I'm gonna have Sky Grayson do that episode. Do you know who that is?
I don't, but he sounds
It's
amazing.
A girl. How dare you? Misgendering people. I will have you arrested. All right. My guild. Where can people find you on social media?
I'm at Mr. Industry on Instagram, and that's about it.
Are you gonna still keep that name?
Yeah, I don't know how to change your name on Instagram, so I'll just keep it.
Why was that guy so mad at you that day?
Oh, there's so many reasons people get mad at me.
People really get mad at you, and I'm like, I think Mike's fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like,
I can't
think
answer why.
The funniest thing is people really think that you take that name seriously.
I've never understood that. I that name came from there was like a 6-month period where I was wearing a suit every day, just as a gag, and a lot of them were ill-fitting. Like I got them for $2-3 at thrift stores and stuff. Like just put on a suit, and someone started calling me Mr. Industry from it, and then I changed the name of my weekly comedy show to the Mr. Industry Showcase.
I think people really thought that you were.
People started getting offended, thinking that I was trying to make myself look like a big shot, and I was just like, no, that's the joke. When you have to explain your joke to another comedian, some would argue it's not funny, and I would argue.
But I would also argue that
that person's not a comedian. That's
I don't
what I
think
would argue.
a lot of comedians have a sense of humor, especially about the business. The amount of comedians that are having beef on Twitter and stuff is just like, guys, is this really for real?
Yeah, I'm too old to deal with any of that.
Oh, the reason why I want to fight this guy over Twitter is that now Twitter's an extension of us. Literally, when I post things on Twitter, it's literally I could not give a shit. I just post things now because people do treat Twitter like you walk into their house and like shit on their bed. That's how people treat like a negative tweet now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got off Twitter.
I have no fucks about what is said or done on Twitter, but so many comedians now are like, "Oh, Twitter! I'm gonna fight this guy for what he said to me on Twitter." Like,
I've gotten brigaded a couple times by different people. Like, I'm sending all my fans after you, and all their fans just like call me the F word, and like they all just say offensive things about me. But it's like, I don't know. This just makes you look bad. These are the people who like you. People who use these kind of words. Like, that's fine. This doesn't make me feel bad at all.
But also, some of my fans are doctors. Not the ones that I know about, but I heard a rumor that they might be doctors. Yeah, I don't get that whole thing. Like, I don't.
I think I'm gonna pretty much steer clear of social media. 2020. That's gonna be my New Year's resolution.
10 years ago, WWE started really hyping up Twitter, and I said to everybody, it's gonna look so stupid in 10 years when nobody gives a fuck about Twitter. And now it's like people still fucking talk about Twitter. Like, you know what I mean? I can't stand Twitter. I feel like it brings out the worst in everybody. But people can find you on Twitter at Mr. Industry.
Instagram.
You don't have Twitter.
I don't know if there is a Mr. Industry on Twitter. It's not me, and I will be suing them.
Okay, fuck them. And this episode's probably going to be coming out in the middle of January. Do you have any projects or anything in London going on that you can plug for February or March?
I'll be doing shows in Florida.
So if you're in Florida, just wander around till you see Mr. Industry.
Exactly. Keep an eye out.
All right, Mike, thank you so much for doing 101 Dalmatians. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. As always, you can follow the podcast at Disney Movie Stack on Instagram or Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Ray Gootz. And next week, we're going to have Ben Rosenfeld, and me and him are going to be doing Sword in the Stone, a movie nobody gives a rat's fuck about. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.